the wealthiest athlete in human history. The richest athlete ever was worth $15 billion. He excelled in a sport that doesn't exist anymore. His name was Gaius Apuleius Diocles. Diocles was a chariot racer in ancient Rome. His career earnings were recorded in stone. They totaled 35,863,120 sesterti, or $15 billion in today's money. Diocles could feed grain to all of Rome for an entire year. But why was an athlete so highly paid? Chariot racing was Rome's most popular sport. It also happened to be extremely dangerous. A charioteer would mount a chariot pulled by 2, 4, or even 10 horses. He would race it against others. The racer rode standing up, the reins tied around his waist. 250,000 viewers packed the Circus Maximus to cheer him on. The chariots would race at breakneck speeds. They tried to ram one another at every opportunity. The track was full of hairpin turns. Death and destruction were commonplace. As a rule, chariot racers didn't survive to old age. For example, Scorpus, a famous charioteer, died at 27. He was honored by an epitaph from Martial himself.
I am Scorpus, the glory of the roaring circus, the object of Rome's cheers, and her short-lived darling. The fates, counting not my years, but the number of my victories, judged me to be an old man.
Diocles defied the odds. He retired at the ripe old age of 42. He lived out the rest of his life in well-earned luxury. The Romans kept meticulous racing statistics. There were 4 racing teams: red, white, blue, and green. Their earnings and victories were recorded, of course, but there were also stats on the horses. The horses were famed athletes in their own right. Diocles' final purse far outweighed all others. Yet he was not the winningest charioteer. Diocles achieved 1,462 victories. The famed Scorpus achieved 2,048. The all-time champion, Pompeius Musclosus, had 3,559. However, Diocles preferred trick races and novelty contests. In other words, he was chasing the money. Some races were worth more than others. Diocles was a rather singular talent. 1,064 of his wins came in high-stakes, single-entry races. Unlike team races, these events only had 4 contestants. The reds, greens, blues, and whites each offered their best charioteer. He would fend off his adversaries without the aid of his teammates. Diocles also notched 110 victories in opening races at grand processions. Grand processions often included racing shows. Such contests were feature races with special significance. Diocles sought not only money, but personal glory. The most successful chariot teams were the greens and the blues. The chariot teams inspired fevered devotion. Diocles began his career as a white. Then he made a move to the greens. Any young charioteer would have considered it a prime spot. Yet Diocles transferred to the less popular reds. It's likely that Diocles wanted to write his own history with the reds. The greens were already too legendary for his taste. Such showboating and paper chasing is often decried today. Many sports fans believe it's some modern malady. Classical athletes, they say, weren't motivated by greed, but of course they were. Ancient Greek Olympians were paid lavishly for their feats. Roman gladiators were celebrities. Diocles' world mirrored our own in more ways than one. Historian Peter Struck, who first discovered Diocles' story, says,
"It's an underlying human phenomenon. People always want to have social capital, the respect of their peers. More of that is better. And they want to have money, and more of that is better. And I don't know of a society in which that's not the case.